Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome to my channel. My name is Stephanie Yates, Anya, Steph Anya for short, and I'm a licensed associate marriage and family therapist. Today's video is going to be about grieving on Mother's Day. It's right around the corner, and I want to share my story and some tips. If you're curious, stay tuned. What's on your mind? All right, so let's jump right into this. I want to start a little bit talking about my history with Mother's Day as well as my plan for this year to be able to stay okay. And I also want to talk a little bit about why this is an important topic to discuss. So on Mother's Day and a lot of other holidays, whether it be your birthday, Christmas, if you had a significant person in your life pass away or that you no longer have access to, grieving is not always about the person dying. If you've lost someone in one way or another and those holidays roll around, they can be a trigger for us. And sometimes it's conscious, but sometimes it's unconscious. And we don't even realize that that's why we've been in a crappy mood or why we avoid certain days or don't talk to certain people. And so Mother's Day coming up, I know that it's always something that's a little bit touchy for me. And to be honest, it was touchy for me even before my mother passed away. One of the things that I'm very transparent about on this channel is about my relationship with my mom. I never want to give the picture that my relationship was perfect with her. I did grow up with her my whole life. My parents were always together, but my mother had to deal with her own triggers from her own childhood and her own mother's mothering. And it definitely impacted the way that she mothered myself and my sister. And so Mother's Day, a lot of times growing up, was triggering because we never knew which version of her we would get. I realize that now in hindsight, how my mother was actually really triggered on Mother's Day and her birthday and other special occasions. And it probably didn't have a lot to do with us. But as a kid, I didn't make sense of the world like that. Really, all the way up until my late teens, I still did not fully comprehend or understand that. I think it's in retrospect that I can see how Mother's Day was even a trigger for her. And it made it difficult for her to be easy for us to be around or celebrate on those days. And so even before my mother passed away, I was dealing with a complicated relationship with Mother's Day. And so I say that to validate or legitimize anyone's experience, even if you haven't lost a significant person around Mother's Day, it still could be triggering. And these are some of the things that I plan to do or that I've done in the past that have really helped me get through this holiday and not be completely depressed. So my first plan is knowing that Mother's Day is such a commercial holiday, meaning that it's one of those holidays where you pick up cards and you get gifts. I have found it to be rewarding to be able to still participate in those things, even though my mother passed away several years ago. So I think about the women in my life who have been mothers to me and make me still feel like I have a woman to turn to for advice, for help, for support and encouragement. And so I like to make sure the first thing I do is make sure that I have gifts for all of them. So I'm still busy just like everyone else around Mother's Day. I don't isolate and alienate myself from that experience, because for me, being able to participate in those things and think about the perfect gift and give it to the people who are there for me, it is really important. Because after I lost my grandmother in 2019, I actually have no biological mother figures left. I don't have my mom or either grandmothers living. And so it's really important to thank the women who have stepped up for me. It makes me feel less longing and less different. And so I give them gifts. And a lot of times what I'll give them is like jewelry. I always give them a heartfelt card. Sometimes I'll bake something and give it to them. Some of them are really easy and just like gift cards. So it can still be really nice to celebrate the women who have represented a mother figure for you, or even close friends who are mothers that you want to support and get them gifts. Just thinking about how you can still give back on a day where it feels like things have been taken from you. Now, when it comes to celebrating my mom, there are a few things I like to do or plan to do that I am really excited about doing in her honor. Watching her favorite movie. My mom loved the movie You Got Mail. It has Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. If you're familiar with that story, my mom was really big into romance, and so am I. So I love watching movies and shows that remind me of her. And, you know, especially watching movies and shows that are about love, it makes me feel loving and be in a loving mood. So it makes me think about her and feels like I'm spending quality time with her. My next tip or plan is to exchange stories with people who also loved her and knew her well. So that would probably be like my sister, my dad, my mom's sister, my cousins on her side. We like to joke around about things she would do or say, or just reflect on sweet, generous things that she did. I was fortunate enough that my husband and I had been together for several years dating when she passed away, so he knew her very well and they had a special relationship. So I talk with him probably the most often about her and just remembering her. So I definitely plan to exchange memories and keep her memory alive. One of our favorite things to laugh about, my sister and I, is my mom used to refer to herself as the home girl. All the time she's like, well, home girl doing XYZ. And one day we would ask her, like, why do you call yourself the home girl? Because my mom was not like exactly down. She was like a very prim and proper kind of lady. And she was like, because I like to stay at home. Different things like that. The way my mom's mind worked, it was really funny and fascinating, and the way that she made sense of the world. So those are the kind of things that I want to think back, just the funny things that made me love her, my favorite times with her. I definitely want to do those things just to keep her memory. So some tips for you: don't pretend like everything is fine if it's not, okay? It's all right to feel down on Mother's Day. It's all right to express that when people say, how are you doing today? To say you're not doing so good. It's all right to be honest about your feelings, especially with people that you trust. If you're not feeling good, maybe consider some ways to process those emotions. You know, if it's anger, maybe channel kickboxing or running. If it's sadness, maybe think about journaling or allowing yourself to cry. These things are okay. So first, be honest with yourself. Don't pretend like you're okay if you're not. And don't feel like you have to pretend like you're not okay if you are. I've seen that pressure as well. Sometimes we feel like our suffering after losing a person is a sign of our loyalty. And if that person loved you as much as you loved them, they wouldn't want to see you suffer in their honor. So if you actually are doing okay, don't feel pressure to feel like you're not doing okay, or feel like a bad person, or feel guilty because you're actually doing well. I would hope that person would want to see you thriving and being happy too. Keep in mind, there is no right way to grieve. And the reason that I wanted to share with you about my mom and our complicated relationship and the complicated relationship I've always had with Mother's Day is because there is no perfect and easy way to grieve. Grief is a lot of times compounded by guilt, by anger, by disappointment, by resentment, by jealousy. There can be so many other emotions that are tangled up with grief that don't feel appropriate anymore because the person isn't here. But no person that we mourn was perfect. And a lot of times we like to glamorize people in the afterlife as this perfect person who did no wrong. But in reality, we all make choices in our lives that are going to hurt other people. So if you have complicated feelings when you're dealing with a birthday or Mother's Day or any special occasion that might make you feel other feelings that you're not so proud of, it's okay. Accept those feelings, work through them, find a therapist, and I promise you, you will make it to the other side. I hope that you found this video helpful. I just wanted to share a lot about my story and some tips for anyone else who might have a similar story or might be dealing with grief on Mother's Day. I really love finding community on this channel, and so if you have a story, please feel free to share it. And if you have words of encouragement for anyone, please feel free to respond to one another's comments. I love to see you all engaging with each other and holding each other up. To me, that's the benefit and beauty of building a community here on YouTube. Again, my name is Stephanie Yates, Anya Buile, Steph Anya for short. I ask that you like this video, subscribe to my channel, share it with anyone that you think may find it useful. I thank you so much for watching this video all the way until the end. That actually really helps me with the YouTube algorithm and helps get my channel out there to other people who might find it helpful. So thank you, thank you, thank you.